As we begin for meditation, I invite you to take a moment to make yourself consciously comfortable, to find your feet on the floor, your back against the chair. And let's take a nice, slow, full inhale together and release it slowly. Allowing your body and your mind to relax. Allowing yourself to be fully supported by the chair. Allowing each breath to release any tension you're feeling in your body. And taking this sacred moment to rest in the presence of God. With every breath, we draw in peace. With every exhale, we let go of fear and worry. With every breath, inhaling that spirit of peace that dwells within us always. And with every exhale, we allow ourselves to become softer and more present to this moment right here and right now. And so as you continue to breathe, allow your mind and your body to rest as we move into a time of sacred silence. Peace. Be still. As we sit in this sacred silence, we begin to touch and to feel and to know that infinite well of peace that is within us. Always there, always present, always accessible to us. When we take that time to sit and get still and allow it to spring forth. We are so grateful to be in this community, to be surrounded by like hearts and like minds, by people who love and support and celebrate us. Thank you, Spirit, for the way you move and work and flow through our lives and this community. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Peace, be still, be silent. It's time time to seek the way. Blessings on all who are present, seeking to brighten their day. Two or more are gathered in His name to pray. Listen, listen, hear the voice. Hear what Spirit has to say. Peace, be still, be silent. It's time to seek the way. Blessings on all who are present, seeking to brighten their day. All who meet in this holy place are gathered well today. Raise your voices to be heard. For Spirit listens in her way. Peace, be still, be silent. It's time to seek the way. Peace, be still, be silent. Peace.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Nice to be back with you all. So today I want to explore the story from the Bible where the phrase "peace be still" comes from. So it's a Jesus story, and it's in all three of the Synoptic Gospels, and it's a pretty familiar one about Jesus calming the waters. So let me read you the account from Mark. Oh, well, first let me set the scene. So Jesus was teaching along the Sea of Galilee, and there were so many people there that he had to get in a boat and kind of sit out in the water so he could project his voice to all the people. And he was spending his day doing this, and then after he was done teaching, he told his disciples, let's get in the boats and go back across the sea. So this is where we're picking it up. A great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat, so that the boat was already being swamped. But Jesus was in the stern, asleep on the cushion, and they woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And waking up, he rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." The wind ceased, and there was a dead calm. He said to them, "Why are you afraid? Have you still no faith?" And they were filled with great awe and said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" So as I was sitting with and reflecting on this passage, there was one thing in particular that really caught my attention, and that is the punctuation. You see, normally when we say peace, be still, we say peace, be still. But that's not the way that Jesus said it according to the Gospels. No, Jesus said, peace, exclamation point, be still, exclamation point. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting? Because you see, what it reminded me of is, if you've ever been in a situation where somebody's really upset, and another person says, okay, you need to calm down, exclamation point. Doesn't typically work, does it? And yet here we have an example of Jesus essentially saying, calm down, peace, exclamation point, be still, exclamation point. And it works. So what's that about? So I was curious about that, and so I spent some time exploring this passage, and I want to share with you what I learned. So in Unity, we like to look at the Bible metaphysically, which means that we're looking beyond and deeper than the surface of the story to find a deeper meaning, and looking at the symbolism and what it means in the present day. So in this story, we have the windstorm. And metaphysically, the windstorm represents all of that stuff that can just blow into our lives and shake everything up. You know, the stuff that comes in from seemingly out of nowhere and just turns life on its head. The diagnosis, the unexpected loss of a loved one or of a job. That news that your family just dropped on you at Thanksgiving. So the windstorm is all of that stuff that comes in, and like the wind, it shakes everything up. It rattles everything up. Maybe during a windstorm, it's such a shakeup of our lives that we feel like the disciples saying, we're all about to die. Maybe for us, the windstorm can feel like, I'm never going to recover from this. There's no coming back from this. I don't even know who I am or where to go from here. So those windstorms are scary sometimes. But the windstorms also stir up stuff. And when we look at this story, we're told that what the wind is stirring up is the waters and the seas, creating waves. And metaphysically, water represents all of the formless, yet to be expressed potentials that exist in divine mind. In other words, it is all of those divine ideas that are not yet brought into expression. It's all of the potential things that could be. That's what the water represents. And you know, water will conform to whatever vessel we put it in, right? You pour it into a glass, into a bowl, into a vase. The water conforms to the container. And like water, these divine ideas, these perfect, pure ideas in the mind of God need a vessel, need us to bring them into expression. So in a way, while the windstorm is chaotic, and it feels scary, and it can bring up anxiety and worry, that windstorm is also stirring up all of this potential. It's stirring up a whole lot of new possibilities that weren't there before. And isn't that so true? That when something unexpected comes into our life and shakes things up, it also creates opportunities. Maybe a new path that you never would have considered for yourself before. A new friend that you wouldn't have met otherwise. Or maybe it gives you a new understanding or a new focus that gives you purpose and meaning in your life. So while the windstorms are scary, they also give new opportunities. But you see, in the story, the disciples didn't understand that yet. They were caught up in this chaos of the windstorm and the waters flooding the boat. And so Jesus, who was asleep on the cushion, which I have to tell you, I really relate to Jesus in this story. You can just ask my husband. Sundays, after I'm done doing this, Sunday afternoons, I am curled up on the couch, taking a nap. So I relate to Jesus needing to take a little nap after preaching. So they wake Jesus up and they say, Teacher, Master, Leader, do you not care that we are all about to die? In other accounts of the same story, they say, Jesus, save us. Jesus wakes up and he rebukes the wind. AKA, he denies that it has any true power. And then he says to the sea, peace, exclamation point. Be still, exclamation point. You see, now the punctuation is starting to make sense. Because it is a command. It is a declaration. It is an affirmation. You see, Jesus is reaching into that infinite realm of possibility that exists in divine mind. It exists in divine mind, therefore it exists everywhere, all the time, including within you. And Jesus reaches into that quantum field of possibility, if you will, and he draws forth what he wants to see manifest. He draws out peace. This is how we all create in our lives. This is how the one God created all of reality. Through the power of a word, the power of a thought, the power of an intention. When you think back and look back on your life, you can probably recognize a few key moments where you went right instead of left, or turned around or went straight, where you made one choice over another. And all of those different choices have led you to where you are today. And maybe if you had made a different choice, you would have tapped into a different possibility for your life. So when we look from where we are now, when we look at the landscape of our life, there are limitless possibilities of who we can be and what we can do and what we can create. Infinite possibilities. And we are the ones who choose. We are the ones who reach into that field, that sea of possibility, and call forth what we want to create. We can choose peace and draw it out. We can choose peace and create it in our lives. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl said everything can be taken from a person. Everything can be taken. Except the ability to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. So after drawing forth peace, Jesus looks at the disciples and he says, "Why are you afraid? Have you still no faith?" Essentially what he's saying is, why are you worried? Why are you getting anxious about this windstorm? All these months I have been teaching you about the power within you. Do you still not believe it? Okay. Now, if we didn't already resonate with the disciples in this story, I think right now we all can relate to them. Because we know. Yes, we know. In the power of the 5 principles that we teach here at Unity. Yes. We know that we live in original blessing and not original sin. Yes. We know the power of our thoughts to create our experience. Yes. We know. And yet, I see that storm coming. And I know, but I see that storm coming. And I feel afraid. Anyone else? Yeah. I'm getting the feeling lately that we're living in tumultuous times. Anyone else? Yeah. Maybe tumultuous times in our own lives, in our friends and family lives, certainly economically, politically, globally. We're living in tumultuous times. And we can acknowledge that there is real suffering and real pain going on in our world and in our communities. That sometimes it feels like we're just facing windstorm after windstorm. And yet in the midst of that, so many new, beautiful, amazing things are being created right now. New ways of engaging in community. New ways of supporting one another. New ways of protecting the environment and reducing our carbon footprint. So many new things are being born from the chaos of the windstorm. Because that's what windstorms do. They mix up the waters. They mix up and stir up new possibilities for us to create. Back in May of 2020, it's what I would call the perfect storm. So of course it was 2020, so COVID was going on. And we were right in the thick of it where we really didn't understand much. And here in Arizona, I think we had just finished our 1 month quarantine that was going to fix everything. And in May of 2020, we had a lot of protests and fighting going on amongst us. It seems like we really, as a society, weren't in a good place. And because that time was a perfect storm down in the valley where I live, it was also one of the earliest, hottest, driest summers that we had ever had. And then George Floyd was killed. And then a few days later, a fire broke out in Cave Creek, where I live. It broke out in a residential area. And because it was hot and the winds were high, there were evacuation orders immediately. Now, here's the thing you need to know about Cave Creek. We say in Cave Creek, if you live here, you either have Harleys or horses. So this area where the fire broke out was all ranches and farms. So these people had animals, not dogs and cats, horses and cows and pigs and chickens and donkeys. And they needed to evacuate. And so what I witnessed and what my husband and I got to be a part of was showing up to the volunteer headquarters in town. And people were donating their horse trailers, their flatbed trailers. They were donating fencing. People were donating land, pieces of their land to set up temporary housing so we could evacuate all the people and all of their animals and get them to safety. That first night we worked until about 10:30. We finished setting up some temporary housing for the horses at the equestrian vet in town. And in the end, we evacuated 860 people and 500 farm animals. Not a single loss of life, but 10 people lost their homes. And right in town, Cave Creek's a pretty small town. Right in town, there's this tiny little hotel called the Tumbleweed Hotel. And they were already facing financial difficulties because of the COVID shutdowns. But they opened up their doors to those people who had lost their homes. Out of the storm, new possibilities. And we see this again and again whenever any type of storm or natural disaster impacts our communities, don't we? We see people who have lost everything, who show up for their neighbors, who help out, who pitch in. So no matter what the storm brings, there's always that potential for goodness. Always that potential for peace and love. So since this is Advent season and today is the day of peace, I want to talk a little bit about peace specifically and how we can show up even in the midst of storms as peace. So I think we have to start by talking about what peace actually is. And I want to start by talking about what peace isn't. Peace isn't just the absence of conflict, right? You see, throughout history, we've had these things called peace treaties that weren't exactly peace. We had the Treaty of Paris, which is what we signed to end the war between the United States and Great Britain. But yet after that peace treaty was signed, the British were capturing Americans and enlisting them into the British Army. And after that peace treaty was signed, they armed the natives to fight against the new Americans. So not really peace, right? And again, we see in the Treaty of Versailles that ended World War I, it was a peace treaty, but because of the severe reparations that were placed on Germany, most historians say that that is what led to the rise of Hitler in World War II. So not really peace. True peace is not the absence of conflict. It's not an outer agreement to not fight. True peace isn't even really about circumstances or outcomes. True peace is an inner, active state of harmony and order. Harmony or love and order are two of our 12 spiritual powers, according to Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore. As two of our innate spiritual powers, that means that they are always within us, always accessible to us. And we are the ones that are responsible for cultivating and bringing it forth. True peace is not about what happens out there. It is about what I bring to things from within me. So as we learn to cultivate and tap into this reservoir of inner peace that is within us, we see it ripple out and impact our lives, the lives of our loved ones and our community and the world in unimaginable ways. So I want to explore some of the things that cultivating this inner peace can do in our lives and the lives of people around us. First, I would say that developing those powers of love and order can create harmony in our bodies, which usually outpictures as good health. This, of course, makes me think of Myrtle's story, our other co-founder, who after suffering from tuberculosis for a long time, she started leaning into these spiritual powers and praying daily. Daily, she was affirming the life and vitality in every single cell of her body. She spoke lovingly to her body. How do you think that would make a difference in your life? Speaking lovingly to your body. She asked for forgiveness from her body for anything that she had done to hurt it or disrupt its natural, perfect harmony. She replaced fear and doubt with faith in her inner wholeness as a spiritual being. And she cultivated gratitude and peace for her growing health even before she saw any evidence of it. And as the story goes, she was cured within 2 years with this practice. Cultivating inner peace can create harmony in our relationships. Because if I have peace within me, I don't need to prove myself right. Inner peace can give us harmony within ourselves. Because through that peace, I now have the ability to show myself grace and kindness, to be compassionate with myself, to see myself through the eyes of love. That comes from peace. Because peace is the cause, it is the catalyst for the outpicturing of harmony in our lives, in our bodies, and in the world. Cultivating inner peace can bring us to a state of harmony with our environment. Because when I have inner peace, I am not trying to control and manage and manipulate what's going on around me. Inner peace can give us harmony in our finances. Because when you're not living in fear or lack, then you're not spending money trying to fill some emptiness that you're feeling. Because you already have peace within. Charles Fillmore said that peace would even make you more fashionable. Here's what he said. This spiritual law is operative in food and clothing. If we think about order and harmony, our two spiritual powers that create peace, if we think about order and harmony, our tastes in material things will change. We shall desire the purest foods, and there will be more harmony in the colors we choose to wear. So there you go, another perk. So as we look at the story of Jesus calming the sea, it reminds us of our ability, just like Jesus, to tap into that infinite realm of potential, to draw forth peace, to cultivate it, to grow it, so that we can experience harmony and order in our mind, body, and affairs. This story encourages us to ask ourselves, can we look that windstorm in the face? Can we look that windstorm in the face, and instead of feeling fear and worry and anxiety, can we be steadfast in our faith like Jesus was and see the possibilities that are being stirred up? Instead of looking outside of us to someone or something to save us, can we tap into that inner reservoir of spiritual power to affirm and draw forth that which we want to see? So when you face your own windstorms in your life, remember that it's not just disrupting what was, it is stirring up what could be. And like Jesus, you have the power to speak into that chaos and call forth peace. Call forth healing. Call forth the new creation that wants to be born through you. Even in the most troubling and difficult moments of our lives, we can rebuke the wind and say to the sea, peace, exclamation point. Be still, exclamation point. And so it is.